The prayer they whispered in complete silence was never forgotten. Long before you noticed the strange pull in your heart, long before the unexpected memories began to return without warning, someone was standing before God with tears they could no longer hide. They asked for only one miracle, you. Not because of what you owned. Not because of how you looked. They begged because your soul became the answer to a question they had carried for years. They believed heaven could hear what no one else could. And today, something has shifted. A door that remained locked through endless nights has finally begun to open. The answer they waited for is moving toward this very moment. But here is what no one expected: the answer did not arrive the way either of you imagined. It arrived wrapped in silence, hidden behind delays that felt like rejection, behind distance that looked permanent, and behind moments that almost convinced both of you to stop believing. Don't skip. Every delay was preparing one final revelation that changes everything you thought was happening. The signs have already begun, but only those willing to keep listening will recognize what heaven has been writing between every unanswered prayer. There is something your heart remembers even when your mind refuses to accept it. Have you noticed how certain people disappear but somehow never truly leave your thoughts? Have you wondered why random moments suddenly remind you of someone without explanation? Those are not always accidents. Sometimes they are echoes of prayers still moving through time. While you believed life was pulling you apart, heaven was arranging pieces that could not be forced together too early. If the answer had come months ago, pride would have destroyed it. If it had arrived last year, fear would have buried it. That is why silence became your greatest teacher. Every disappointment was quietly removing something that would have stood between you and the blessing waiting ahead. Meanwhile, the person who prayed for you faced battles no one could see. They questioned themselves. They wondered whether God had remained silent forever. More than once they almost gave up, believing their prayer had disappeared into the darkness. But every time hope seemed to fade, another tiny sign appeared, a dream they could not explain, an unexpected feeling of peace, a memory that returned at exactly the right time. Those moments kept them holding on when logic told them to walk away. Now those scattered pieces are beginning to connect. The strange timing, the unexpected emotions, the repeated coincidences. They are forming one picture. But the biggest piece has not appeared yet. It is closer than anyone realizes, and when it arrives, both of you will finally understand why every closed door was secretly protecting an open one that had not yet appeared. Stay till the end, because the next layer of this story uncovers a truth that even they never saw coming. Imagine standing before a mountain that never seemed to move, praying until your voice became nothing more than a whisper, believing every tear had fallen unnoticed. That was their reality. Night after night they carried your name before God without knowing whether the future would ever allow your paths to meet the way they dreamed. What they never realized was that while they were asking for you, heaven was also shaping you into someone capable of receiving what they requested. Two separate journeys were unfolding at the same time, completely hidden from each other. Every challenge you faced was quietly strengthening qualities you would one day need. Every unexpected ending was creating space for an extraordinary beginning. Every moment you questioned your purpose became another page in a story far greater than your own plans. Even now, there are details happening around you that seem ordinary but are carrying extraordinary meaning. A conversation you almost ignored. A delay that frustrated you. A memory that suddenly returned for no reason. None of these moments are standing alone anymore. They are gathering like pieces of a message that is finally ready to be read. And the most astonishing part is this: the answer to their prayer is not simply that you would belong to them. It is that both of your lives would reveal something far greater than either of you ever dared to imagine. The breakthrough is not arriving with noise. It is arriving with perfect timing. Something huge is waiting for you. The next revelation will expose why heaven allowed everything to happen exactly the way it did, and why the answer that is here today is far more powerful than the prayer that first began it. The moment heaven began answering that prayer, something unexpected happened. It did not begin with a grand announcement or a dramatic sign in the sky. Instead, it began with small shifts that almost everyone would overlook. A door that refused to open for years suddenly became unlocked. A conversation that seemed impossible started taking shape. A burden you carried for so long began feeling lighter without any clear reason. These are not ordinary moments. They are the quiet footsteps of an answer finally arriving. But here is the mystery that few people understand. Before God places a blessing into your hands, He often removes everything that would make you drop it. That explains why certain relationships faded away. That explains why some plans collapsed even after you worked so hard. It was never punishment. It was preparation. The person who prayed for you could never see this while they were waiting. They thought every delay meant no, when heaven was actually saying, not yet. And now, the waiting season is ending. The pieces are beginning to fit together so perfectly that one day both of you will look back and realize not a single tear was wasted. The prayer that seemed forgotten was actually growing stronger in silence. That is why your heart has been sensing that something is changing even if your eyes cannot see it yet. Like this video if you believe every delay can carry a hidden purpose, because sometimes faith begins exactly where certainty ends. Share this message with someone whose hope has almost disappeared. And if these words are speaking directly to your heart, subscribe for more messages that remind you that heaven's timing is never late. But don't let your attention drift now, because the next truth is the one that completely transformed their understanding of why the answer could not come any sooner. There was one final obstacle standing between the prayer and its fulfillment, and it was invisible. It was fear. Not the fear of losing each other, but the fear of receiving something so valuable that neither of you believed you deserved it. Heaven had to heal that hidden fear before opening the next chapter. Think about the moments when you questioned your worth. Think about the nights when you wondered if anyone truly saw your heart. Those moments were never ignored. Every silent question reached heaven before it even left your lips. At the same time, the one who prayed for you was learning a lesson just as important. They had to stop trying to control the outcome and start trusting the one who already knew the ending. That surrender changed everything. The instant they released the pressure to force events, the path ahead became clear. Suddenly the delays were no longer walls. They became bridges. The disappointments were no longer defeats. They became directions. Even the people who walked away from your life unknowingly created space for the ones who were always meant to stay. Isn't it remarkable how what once felt like loss now looks like protection? The answer has been moving toward you through every season, every setback, every unanswered question. Even now, there are moments unfolding behind the scenes that you cannot yet recognize. A decision someone is making today, a path someone is choosing, a conversation that has not yet happened. All of it is quietly leading toward a meeting that heaven has already seen. That is why you must never mistake silence for absence. God is often doing His greatest work where human eyes see absolutely nothing. And when that hidden work becomes visible, it will feel less like coincidence and more like destiny finally stepping into the light. Now listen carefully, because this may be the most powerful realization of all. The answer was never only about bringing two people together. It was about creating two transformed hearts capable of protecting what they once only dreamed about. If the blessing had arrived before healing, it would have been crushed by insecurity. If it had arrived before wisdom, it would have been lost through misunderstanding. That is why every season had a purpose, even the painful ones. You are not standing at the end of a story. You are standing at the edge of a beginning that has been written with extraordinary care. Soon, things that confused you for years will suddenly make perfect sense. The unexpected goodbye. The delayed opportunity. The unanswered prayer that later became the greatest gift because it redirected your entire path. You will see that nothing was random. Every chapter carried meaning, even when it felt empty. And when the answer fully arrives, you will not celebrate only because someone prayed for you. You will celebrate because you finally understand why heaven refused to give you less than what was truly meant for you. Before you leave, tell me in the comments, what is one prayer you have never stopped believing in? Your words may become the encouragement someone else desperately needs today. Keep watching, because what comes next reveals the unmistakable signs that the answer is no longer approaching, it is